Hello everyone, happy new year, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Laura and for today's video we will be talking about my most anticipated book releases for 2025. I'm gonna give you 30 books that you should keep your radar on and you should ask your TBR for this year right about now. So for this year, I set my Goodreads reading goal on 100 books. Last year, my reading goal was on 150 books, but I only ended up reading 112 books. I say only, as if that wasn't already insane. Anyway, so for this year, I decided to lower that number a little bit. So, let's get into my most anticipated book releases for 2025. I'm gonna go in order of release for each month of the year. Starting with January, we have two releases. Burn the Wall by Ava Hunter coming out on January 23rd. This is the third book in the Runaway Ranch series. It can be read as a standalone, but I will suggest reading them in order because the first two books are amazing. This book follows Ford and Reese. She's a country pop star who escapes to a quiet mountain town to find peace after her life falls apart. And there she meets Ford, who is a grumpy, wounded cowboy. So this book is an age gap romance with romantic suspense and has mental health representation. Next release is If the Ring Fits by Camilla Isley, coming out on January 25th. This is the second book in the Funny Feelings series, but can be totally read as a standalone, mostly because the first book is a Christmas novel, which I also suggest reading because it's amazing. This book follows Adrian and Rowena. He's an investment banker and she's a software engineer, and they agree to a fake engagement to impress Adrian's CEO. So this book is a marriage of convenience set in Manhattan with forced proximity and witty banter. February comes by full of news with 6 releases. First, we have Deepen by Ali Hazelwood coming out on February 4th. Oh, how excited I am to read this one. I just know I'm going to love it. This book is a college sports romance between Scarlett, a platform diver, and Lucas, a swimmer. So when a secret comes out to light, they start an arrangement amidst Olympic-level pressures. That just simply screams tension everywhere. Unloved by Peyton Corinne, also coming out on February 4th. This is the second book in the Undone series, a series of hockey romances. This one follows Freddie and Ro. Freddie is a hockey player struggling with some classes, so Ro becomes his tutor as they form a deep friendship. So this is a slow burn friends to lovers romance with fun family trope. Next we have Scythe and Sparrow by Brynne Weaver coming out on February 11th. This is the third and final book in the Runyx love trilogy following Butcher and Blackbird and Leather and Lark. This is a series of dark rom-coms, and this one follows Rose and Fionn. She's a circus motorcycle performer and he's a doctor. There isn't much announced yet, but from what I remember of them from the previous books, this would be a friends with benefits romance with forced proximity. Fionn is a doctor escaping his past when Rose, who has spent a decade performing at a circus, ends up injured at his doorstep. We also have First Time Caller by V.K. Borison coming out on February 13th. This would be the first book of a new series by this author called Heartstrings, which follows a radio station. Each book of this series will be like a modern twist of a Nora Ephron movie. She was a film director who made romantic comedies. So this first book is a modern twist of Sleepless in Seattle, and it follows Aiden and Lucy. He's the host of a romance hotline, and she's a single mom who suddenly thrust into the spotlight after an interview in said hotline goes viral. This book really sounds so good, and I can't wait to read it. The Charlie Method by Elle Kennedy, coming out on February 25th. This is the third book in the Campus Diaries series, and it follows Charlotte, Will, and Beckett. And it's an MFM romance. Will and Beckett are two hockey players who share a secret, and Charlotte is a STEM student. She finds herself chatting on a dating app with two anonymous guys who happen to be Will and Beckett, and when she finally meets them in person, things get steamy pretty fast. I'm not really one to love this type of romances, but I've loved the first two books in the series, so here I am. And lastly, in February, Bailed by Seraya, coming out on February 27th. This book is a Rivals to Lovers secret society romance between two surgeons, and is the first book in the Sons of the Atlas series. It follows Michael and Sarah. They're both competing for the medical director position. This book is dual POV with first proximity and lots of banter and bickering. On to March, we have 5 new releases. Wild Side by Elsie Silver coming out on March 4th. Third book in the Rose Hill series, a 10 out of 10 series following single dads. And this one follows Tabby and Rice, and it's a marriage of convenience. Tabby agrees to marry Rice in order to protect her nephew's guardianship. The Lair by Lisina Coney coming out on March 7th on my birthday. There's no blog yet for this book. The only thing this author has said about it is that it's a romantic suspense novel with age gap and a very slow burn. And it follows Ali and Travis. Ali is a woman hiding in a small town, and Travis is her grumpy new boss who secretly has a soft spot for her. This book won't be part of a series, it will be a completely standalone. Married by Devney Perry coming out on March 11th. This is the 4th book in the Treasure Estate Walkouts series, and it follows Maverick and Stevie. They are 2 childhood enemies whose parents are best friends and they're neighbors. They have spent years hating each other but suddenly end up in a fake relationship at his mother's request. The Strawberry Patch Pancake House by Laurie Gilmore coming out on March 13th. This is the 3rd book in the Dream Harbor series, same author and series as the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. This book follows Archer and Iris. He's a chef and a single dad who moves to Dream Harbor to run a pancake restaurant, and Iris agrees to nanny Archer's daughter. And lastly, in March, we have Ace and Ember by K. Crew, which comes out sometime in March. There is no confirmed date yet. There's no even blog yet as well. So what I can tell you about it from what I remember from the first book is that this book is the 2nd book in the Maverick series, and it follows Aiden and Evie. This is a dark rom-com, and it would be a brother's best friend forbidden romance with forced proximity. In April, we also have 5 new releases. Wild and Wrangled by Lyla Sage coming out on April 15th. This is the 4th book and I think final book of the Rebel Blue Ranch series. What an amazing series. There's no book I haven't loved. Gorgeous covers, I think this one might be my favorite. This book follows Camille and Dusty. Camille is a single mom who gets stranded on her wedding day, so she moves in next door to Dusty, who's also her past love. It sounds so good, April can't come soon enough. Watch Me by Tahereh Mafi coming out on April 15th as well. So this is a spin-off series of the Shadow Me series, and it's the 1st book and it's set 10 years after. It follows James and Rosabelle. James infiltrates in the authoritarian Ark Island to disrupt the re-establishment, and Rosabelle is an assassin bound by civilians. The author said that it's not necessary to read the Shadow Me series in order to read this one, but the characters from that series will be appearing in this spin-off. Sawyer by Jessica Peterson coming out on April 24th. This is the 3rd book in the Lucky River Ranch series. There's no blog yet, but I think the MNC is a single dad cowboy. I recently read the first 2 books. The 2nd one came out just like 2 weeks ago or so, and they were amazing, so that's enough for me to continue this series and recommend it. Enigma by Runyx coming out on April 29th. So this book follows Salem and Cass. Salem is a student investigating her sister's mysterious death at Mortimer University, and Cass is a man investigating another death at the same university. This is a standalone Dark Academia Rivals to Lovers romance. It reminds me so much of Nocticaria by Carrie Lake, and I love that book. And Most King of Envy by Ana Huang, also coming out on April 29th. This is the 5th book in the King of Sin series. This one follows Buck and Ayana. Buck is a billionaire who is obsessed with Ayana, but she's his friend's fiance, but she's actually trapped in a business engagement. To be fair, I don't know why I keep reading these authors' books, but I was invested in this story, so here we are. Let's see how it goes. In May, we have 4 releases. Riding the High by Paisley Hope coming out on May 6th. This is the 3rd novel in the Silver Pines Ranch series, and it follows Cole and Ginger. Cole is a single dad and the town's new sheriff, and Ginger is the congressman's daughter and a teacher. And they accidentally get married in Vegas, but they keep it a secret. Next release is Love Arranged by Lauren Asher, coming out on May 13th. No blur, just vibes. Well, this book follows Lorenzo and Liliana, and that's all we know about this book so far. I think they get married or something. Next one is Rewinded Back by Liz Stomfordy, coming out on May 20th. Again, just vibes, but really good vibes. This is the fifth and final book in the Windy City series. I can't believe this series is actually ending. This book follows Rio and Hallie. Hallie has never appeared before in any of the previous books, but this one is giving second chance romance and I'm here for it. And lastly, Change of Heart by Bailey Hanna, coming out on May 27th. Third book in the Wells Ranch series. It follows Blair and Denver. Blair returns to her hometown after a decade to take care of her ill mother, only to face Denver, who is the cowboy who broke her heart years ago. In June, we have two releases. Scotch on the Rocks by Elliot Fletcher, coming out on June 5th. Second book in the Maccabee Brothers series. I read the first one as an arc, and it was so good, one of my top reads of 2024. This book follows Juniper and Callum. So, Callum is one of the three Maccabee brothers, and one of his brothers is actually Juniper's ex-fiancé. I don't really know much about the storyline, but it already sounds promising. Uncaught Up by Navisa Allen, coming out on June 10th. This is the second book in the Into the Darkness series. The first one was hilarious, and I expect nothing less from this one as well. This book is a dark stalker rom-com and it follows Nico and Lauren. Nico is a man with a dark past who finds himself obsessively drawn with Lauren, and Lauren is the woman he's kept at a distance for years. In July, we just have one release, and it's Made for Each Other by Lynn Painter, coming out on July 15th. This book follows Abby and Declan. Abby is a professional cleaner who has to move out of her house due to an infestation, and Declan is a man who Abby works for cleaning his penthouse. So when Declan is out of town, Abby decides to stay there at his penthouse, and she gets mistaken for Declan's girlfriend by his parents. The rom-com material is already there, and I'm really excited to read this one. Skipping all the way to September, we have two releases. The Gingerbread Bakery by Laurie Gilmore, coming out on September 11th. Fifth book in the Dream Harbor series. It follows Annie and Mac. They basically hated each other since they met, but now their friends are getting married, and while they are preparing for the wedding, they need to learn how to leave their mutual dislike aside. Anna Match Meeting Coven by Camilla Isley, coming out on September 23rd. This is the second book in the Paranormal Romance series. It follows Sarah and Lorcan. Sarah is a magical enforcer who is called to investigate a murder, and Lorcan is a heir from a rival coven and the prime suspect, but he ends up helping her with the case. So this is an enemies to lovers forbidden romance with supernatural suspense. And finally, in October, we have two new releases so far. Good Spirits by B.K. Borison, coming out on October 7th. This will be the first book in the Ghost series, and it follows Nolan and Harriet. Nolan is a ghost of Christmas past, tasked with haunting Harriet, who is a woman unsure of why she is being haunted. I think this will have the perfect mix of spooky and Christmas vibes. Have you seen that cover? It's so stunning, I can't wait to have a physical copy. And The Defender by Ana Huang, coming out on October 9th. Second book in the Gods of the Game series. There is no information on this book at all yet. We only know that it centers around Vincent and Brooklyn. Vincent is the brother of the FMC of the first book, and to be honest, I cannot remember who Brooklyn is. I think she might be his coach's daughter, maybe. I don't know. Now, before this video ends, a special mention to The Fire Red by Runyx, which will be a surprise release. We only know it's coming out this year, but nobody knows when. This book is dark romance and it follows Ember. She's a botanist who has a quiet life when she accidentally witnesses an assassin in action. That assassin mysterious man takes an interest in her and becomes intrigued by her. That's all we know about this book, and I'm really excited to read this one. Well, that's a wrap on my first video of 2025. Let me know if there's any other releases this year I should know about. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and to follow me on all my socials. See you guys on the next video.